There's at least two places it's being spent. One is in reacting to the breach in and of itself and dealing with the investigation and the compliance issues that you face. What actually happened, what is called for in terms of response based on what happened, you can spend a lot of money. I would estimate, and this is anecdotal and certainly based on no real facts that I have other than my own experience, is that a vast majority of the breaches that occur and are reported do not end up in litigation. The plaintiff's bar is looking for the big, sexy target company with a big name that's well known, attached to that a big number of records compromised. They are not looking for 10,000 employee records from some local company. They are not looking for maybe even 100,000 records from a company. You get into seven figures and you've got a name that's recognizable, that's a different number. Or different risk, I should say. If you get into seven figures and you don't have a recognizable name, but you're in the high seven figures, that's probably good enough. And so the plaintiffs are looking at this on a numbers level saying, listen, we're coming after you. Before you get to the litigation, however, you can spend a lot of money on forensics, on legal. You can spend a lot of money on the offerings that you'll roll out. Because when you say to people, we lost or compromised your data, you actually have to spend money on call centers because you're not going to field all these calls from 100 or 200,000 people. So who's doing that? You're going to have to pay for the actual letters to go out and the stamps. It seems basic, but not when you times it by 500,000. So that's a real expense. Then when you're sending those letters, typically you're sending them with some kind of offering. Credit monitoring, credit repair, insurance, whatever. They're not free. So all of those are expenses that you can incur as a company without ever getting sued. And we see it all the time. One example I like to talk about is I know a company that I eventually ended up representing where they had no more than, 900 people whose data was compromised. They went out and did what I call panic buying, and they offered years worth of credit monitoring, years worth of credit repair, and for 900 plus people, the bill was $105,000. So, if that seems like a good deal to you, it certainly doesn't to me. So it's one of the many examples that we've seen in terms of how to spend money badly and in a panic. But that's the kind of thing we see. Now, the other side of this is you get through the compliance issues, you deal with the attorneys general or the feds, you deal with all those kind of issues, and you get your notices out and you make your offerings. Then you may get sued. And if you get sued, that's a whole nother level of expense. Do you get sued by one plaintiff's firm in one place? Or do you get sued by multiple plaintiffs' firms in multiple states where you have to get local counsel and do a multi-district litigation sort of a dance just to spend a lot of money to get it all in one place? That can take 6 months just to get you in the right courtroom where you start. It took 6 months of lawyering to get you there. That's not free. So you see a lot of that. And obviously once you're in the world of a lawsuit, you're trying to get out on dispositive motions, but if you can't, the risk goes up. So if you're insured, your carrier is going to be looking at how to get out of this case effectively and for the right number. So there's the indemnity side of this too. At some point, unless you hit a home run and just knock the case out, which can happen, there may be indemnity dollars you'll spend on top of defense dollars. So that's really where the money's being spent.